The Vancouver Canucks are guaranteed a top 9 pick in this year's NHL Entry Draft. This means that if you look at the draft rankings and where everybody's positioned, and you think about the draft lotteries, the Vancouver Canucks are not capable of drafting 5th overall, which means that streak is broken. But it means that we will either be getting 1, 2, 3, or 9, 8, 7, or 6. So what I thought I would do is make a little bit of a mini-series going into the draft lottery, talking about guys who are projected to go in this range, and talking about why I want them. And this first video right here is Adam Boqvist. This video right here for the Vancouver Canucks, why I want Adam Boqvist. And a lot of people are thinking of this and they're saying, what the hell, why are you doing a Boqvist? He's not supposed to go in this range. But the thing is, it's that time of year, guys, where everybody is kinda iffy about where guys are going to go. Adam Boqvist was supposed to be number 3. Earlier in the year, some people had him as high as number 2, above Svechnikov, above Zadina. Some people had Boqvist going right underneath Rasmus Dahlin. But as the year progressed, we saw more and more of an improvement of all these other guys. Svechnikov having a great year, Zadina tying Alexis Lafreniere in the QMJHL for rookie points. He's having a fantastic season as well. We got guys who really rose their way up, like Tkachuk, Bouchard, and Wahlstrom. So, if you look at Adam Boqvist today, what used to be a player who a lot of people had as number 3 overall, some people have him as high as 4th, right behind Svechnikov, Dahlin, and Zadina. Some people have him 5th, 6th, some people even have him as low as 9th, which is kind of in the ballpark of where the Vancouver Canucks are supposed to be drafting. So I'm going to make this video here about Adam Boqvist today, and right away, I want to establish this is not a full in-depth prospect analysis video. If you want any of those that got statistics, really in-depth analysis, video reviews and whatnot, you can go and check out MirokiOnDefence and NHL Prospect Center. They got fantastic videos showcasing prospects and their talents. Right here, I'm just making a short little audio commentary discussing the things I like about their game and what they could bring to the Vancouver Canucks, seeing as the Canucks will probably be in this range if they don't win a lottery. So right away, what is Adam Boqvist? He's a 17-year-old defenseman with a late birthday. He was born in August of 2000. A few more weeks and he would have been eligible for next year's draft instead of this year's. But as he is eligible for this year's draft, he is one of the youngest guys here. At 17 years of age, he's 5'11", 170 pounds, playing over there in the Grenache IF's Junior 20 team. He played the majority of his season over there, but he did get his fair share of SHL games too, racking up 1 total assist in 15 games played. He also spent time with the IM Tuna IS over there in the Allsvenskan. He played 7 games over there, but really, the Grenache IF Junior 20 team in the Super Elite is where he spent the majority of his time. 25 games played for this young defenseman, 24 points, which is pretty good for a defenseman playing in this league. In terms of international tournaments, at the U18s and the U20s, he was really good, a point-per-game player in the under-20s, and 3 games played over there for the under-20s. If you want to talk about the World Juniors, he didn't actually play then, which kind of speaks volumes about the prospect depth that Sweden has on the upswing, but at the same time, Adam Boqvist not making that World Junior team, I can totally see where that is a concern for some people. But still, we gotta remember that Team Sweden is kinda stacked. So what about Adam Boqvist makes him appealing? Well, early into the season, there's a reason why people had to have him as high as number 3, just in front of Zadina and all the other guys, right? Well, the primary focus on Adam Boqvist's game was his offensive game. When you have a guy like Rasmus Dahlin, he's the all-around package. He's as good offensively as he is defensively, and he's really gosh darn good offensively and defensively. But Adam Boqvist, he was most noted for his offensive talent. Not to say that he's a slouch in his own zone, but every category that an offensive defenseman could excel at, Adam Boqvist is somebody who excels at. In terms of being able to make plays, he's got a fantastic hockey IQ, his shooting is arguably one of the best in the draft, which is saying something in a draft that's got Filip Zadina in it. You got his really elite puck handling skills and a stellar template in his feet for skating. He just knows how to shift his way through players. And he's one of those guys with great vision out there on the ice, able to find a first pass it off to somebody, get an assist, and he's not afraid to take a shot for sure. His shot is definitely one of his deadliest weapons here. He's one of those players who just gets it. He gets everything about the game, and he's one of those guys that you can put out there in clutch situations. If you want to tie a game up late, you put Adam Boqvist out there, he knows what to do, he remains calm, and he's able to make the right decisions at the right time. He's got a really active stick, always forcing turnovers, and using that stick to his advantage when deking through guys, shifting through players, and finding his own teammates. He is definitely a player to watch out for. But Lego Rocks, why is he a player to watch out for if he didn't make the World Juniors? Well, I personally don't have a reason for that, but if I had to pinpoint a reason, it would probably be the idea that Adam Boqvist isn't completely ready in his defensive zone. That's just what I would speculate if I had to answer the question, why didn't he make the World Juniors? Because I feel like the World Juniors people over there for Team Sweden probably had better players that they could have had on that defensive blue line in terms of being capable in their own zone. And that's not to nag on Adam Boqvist, but the thing is, Boqvist is a purely offensive defenseman, and he's been described by Craig Button to be an Erik Karlsson clone. And the idea that this guy, who was at number 3 at the beginning of the year, has dropped down as low as number 9 on some people's draft rankings, it does raise some eyebrows. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Boqvist is getting worse. We've seen things like this happen in the past. Remember the 2016 draft with Matthews? I want to talk about Jakob Chychrun. You remember Jakob Chychrun in this year? Yeah, he was supposed to go 2nd overall. That was at the very beginning of the 2015-16 season. Everybody was like, okay, who's going to go first? It's going to be Austin Matthews. Okay, who's going to go second? Jakob Chychrun. Laine and Puljujärvi, they were nowhere near the list because nobody really saw their talent being played in the Finnish leagues because, well, they were in Finland. Nobody really scouted them as much as they did during their draft year. So at the time, going through the 2015-16 season, Chychrun was the consensus number 2 guy. But injury problems held him back. He didn't play as much as people thought he would. He didn't have that good of a season as people thought he would. And as a result, he dropped down the rankings. Other defensemen like Olli Juolevi, Mikhail Sergachev, McAvoy, Jake Bean, they all got taken ahead of Chychrun. And if you take a look at who's playing in the NHL today, Jakob Chychrun has the most games played out of all of these players. He's at 118. Olli Juolevi, he's at 0. Mikhail Sergachev, he's at 83. Charlie McAvoy, he's at 63. Jake Bean, he's at 0 too. So, that was an example I wanted to bring up because it showed the idea that guys who get sent down in the draft rankings don't necessarily become worse players. Because we've seen it with this draft year so far. Boqvist, he started up high, he's dropping a little bit in people's standings. People have Tkachuk over him, Hughes, Dobson, Bouchard as well. Some of these guys have been improving and giving us more reasons to rate them higher, but guys like Adam Boqvist haven't been giving us reasons to say, okay, he's definitely above Zadina, or okay, he's definitely above Svechnikov. Boqvist has had sort of a passive season this year, one that any standard North American hockey viewer wouldn't be able to keep track of unless they actually watched the Junior 20 Super Elite Brinash games. So in that respect, Adam Boqvist is still a player who probably has the skill to be an offensive defenseman threat, just like, quote-unquote by Craig Button, Erik Karlsson. So we gotta take a look at everything here. Gotta take a look at the recency bias and all that. The World Juniors really propelled guys like Tkachuk forward. Guys like Bouchard, who is 8th in OHL scoring as a defenseman in the London Knights. He's really driven his draft stock up as well. Adam Boqvist, on the other hand, he hasn't really done that much to making people want to raise him on their rankings. And as such, he's dropped in some people's eyes. But that doesn't mean the talent isn't there anymore. Because if you take a look at it one-on-one, if we had Boqvist versus Bouchard, I'd choose Boqvist. If we had Boqvist versus Dobson, I'd choose Boqvist. If we had Boqvist versus Ty Smith, I'd choose Boqvist. If it was Boqvist versus Hughes, that's a different story. But the main purpose here is I want Adam Boqvist on the Vancouver Canucks. Because as a player who has the potential to be an elite number 1, number 2 cross-offensive defenseman, that is something that we really need. And if somebody like Boqvist is available on the board when we're drafting, which at this point it looks like it very well could be plausible, I want to take him. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plus, news, not trolls like not gaming, and bye.